Welcome to episode 10 of the MobiChef Mukbang. Today is a little different because today we're talking to United States Marine, United States Army veteran, father, visionary, and the founder of MobiChef, me, Chester Smith. This episode is personal, it's powerful. And it's all about the journey from breakdowns to breakthroughs. And without further ado, let's welcome Chester Smith. Chester, how's it going?
I'm great, man. How you doing, Chester?
Actually, let's start at one of your lowest points.
Okay, shoot.
What moment in your life would you say you felt like you hit rock bottom?
A moment in my life that felt like true rock bottom. Let's see. Let's call it condition one. Gun in hand, weapon loaded, round in chamber, magazine inserted, no safety on the weapon. Looking out a window, contemplating at, what point was I about to do this? It was a dark day. I remember sitting at a window and looking out that window was nothing but forest. It was just trees. And I was like, I'm about to end it in front of nobody. There's nothing right there, nobody on TV, no cameras, no nothing. And here I am about to be what I considered at that time a failure. I'm about to end it all. But yeah, that was a low moment. I realized at that point I was very low, because in order to do those things that I did and get to the point where I was, I had to be at a low moment. I had to be very low. I had to be so down on myself that I didn't think anything or anyone could get me up out of there.
What ran through your head when you were staring out that window with the weight of everything on your shoulders crashing down on you?
What it was going to feel like when I pulled that trigger. What my mom was going to think, what my son was going to think, what my family and friends were going to think. Because I thought I was a failure, man. I knew it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I failed at life. So I just saw, hey, man, this is the only way out. You had nothing, no income, no job. You couldn't drive. And you were staying somewhere where you couldn't even afford to stay. And if it had not been for that, you would have been living on the streets. That's what that moment was like for me.
How did your military discipline help or hurt you in that moment?
Both, man. That was twofold. Part of me was so broken and disgusted with myself and where I had come, and that it had come to this. I was like, man, you're a United States Marine, for God's sakes, right? At that time, I hadn't joined the Army. And here we are, the branch that's the toughest of the tough. We always got to get told, we always were told, you got to suck it up. You got to drive on, rub some dirt on it, drink water, whatever it is, just move past it. Even sweep it under the rug sometimes. But in those moments, damn being a Marine, I was done. I was out of the Marines anyway. So it's not like they had any bearing on my life at that time, because it wasn't serving me any good just to say, hey, I'm a Marine, former Marine, whatever you want to call it. So the only thing that, believe it or not, I used in that moment was to understand how to load that weapon.
What did you feel was at stake if you gave up?
My life, one. That was all really that was at stake. My livelihood. Everything else, I felt like I had lost everything, so there was nothing for me. That's why I was there. That's why I was sitting in that space looking out the window. There was nothing else for me. So I don't feel like the only thing that was at stake was my life. Don't have T-Rex arms. There was a moment where, had I not reached out and asked for help, I wouldn't be here today sitting in front of you, Chester, and talking to you, man. That's really all I can say to them. But don't give up. If you're thinking about things, always reach out, get help. Get help, man. Because mental health is something that, as a man and as a person, human being, it's something we deal with every day. And I just want to make sure that you know out there, the listener and the viewer, that if you're going through something, you got to get help, man. You got to get help.
I hear you. What did the rebuild look like? Let's talk about that why framework. What hurt you?
What hurt me was the fact that I had an idea of who I should be. I shouldn't have been in that situation where I was technically homeless, no money, no job, not able to drive because my license was suspended. There should have been no way that Chester Smith, me, was in a situation like that. Us, for that matter. We shouldn't have got that low. We should have reached out a long time ago. We should have swallowed our pride, and we should have asked for help. That's what hurt, the fact that I didn't do that. The fact that we didn't do it.
Tell me, what hindered you from healing or moving forward at first?
What hindered me from moving forward was knowing that I needed help. I knew that within the depth of my soul that, Chester, you really didn't want to do this. You really didn't want to pull that trigger because you thought too much. You overanalyzed things. You're going to think about how you're going to fall on the floor, where things are going to go, what your family's going to think, who's going to hate you, all those things. So that's what hindered me from pulling that trigger that day.
What helped you? Who helped you?
What helped me was a mind of never quitting, not really wanting to give up, but not having nowhere else to turn. The thing that helped me was that, knowing I needed help and knowing to ask for it. The way I asked for it, you mentioned the person that helped me or who helped me, my mom. I messaged my mom and I was apologizing to her. I was apologizing for being, a bad son and such a failure and not something that, and someone that she can be proud of. And in that moment, my mom knew, like, something's not right. This ain't how my son would talk to me. Not me, not us. So she came to my aid. And I had no choice but to tell her what was going on with me. And had it not been for my mom, again, we wouldn't be here today.
What did early rebuilding feel like? Spiritually, emotionally, financially?
The rebuild. Man, it's almost like I pulled that trigger that day. But it was really on life. It wasn't the physical trigger. It was the reset. And at that point, if I complained about my situation, that meant that I had to change it. So I began a path of where I had to get off my feet or get off my ass, not get off my feet, get back on my feet. And from there, I had to find out a way that I could fix my problem. And the way it started was, how can I get money? How can I learn something new? And I started seeking and searching for that. And eventually I found it in the United States Army.
Was there a moment that made you say, okay, I'm not done yet?
Yeah, man. It was the moment I locked that gun back up in its case. That's the only thing that I can remember, is that was my new lease. Just turning that key. Never looking at that gun again. And then at that point, just moving forward, finding a path forward. So that was that moment. It was like, you're not done yet, Chester. And you knew it. I knew it. We knew it. We weren't done yet.
So let's switch gears for a second. How was the idea born?
2009. I had a media company, believe it or not. It was called Night Vision. And the whole premise of it, what I wanted to do was be the go-to for photographers, videographers, and cinematographers. I wanted to have a network of people that can get booked for those gigs, whether it was film or, club, promotion or, video shoots. I wanted to have a network for that where they can be found in one place and conveniently booked. This was 2009 again, before apps really took off. Well, that didn't happen, obviously, because we'd be Night Vision today and not MobiChef. I let the idea die or sleep. And eventually it came back to life and woke up in the form of me looking on Facebook and seeing that there were people selling plates and people online trying to sell you their $20 plates and, all of the things that they had going on. And I said, you know what? They're only limited to their network, right? The 495 friends that they have, or 4,995 friends that they have, that's all that they have. And, Facebook might not even let them get to them. So how do you help those people get a network and get exposed to more people, right? And find new clients. Enter a platform where they can be seen that will help them market and brand themselves, all the while being able to help them sell their plates. Enter MobiChef 2016. I wanted to build a platform, which was actually a brick and mortar at the time, just to help people and give them a place to make food so that they can run it out like DoorDash and Uber Eats does now. However, a central location wasn't going to work. I would have had to build a lot of locations in different and strategic areas. There was no money for that. Remember, Chester was broke and destitute at that time. So that idea went to sleep. MobiChef slept for a while. And that was early 2016. Late 2016, I was driving for Uber and Lyft. At that point, I was talking to a buddy of mine. We were in the car. Well, I was in the car. We were on the phone. And he said, Chester, how's MobiChef going? I was like, it's not going to come to life. I have to find a way to get rid of the overhead. And then as I said that to him, it made sense. Just get rid of the overhead. And that's what I did. I said, we don't need to do a brick and mortar. We need to find a way to put these people and these chefs in people's homes. Enter MobiChef. I stopped driving for Lyft and Uber that night, and I go to the house that I couldn't afford to live in, and I locked myself in the basement. And this was before I lost my license, just so you guys know. So I locked myself in the basement for 7 hours. It was 11:30 at night. I didn't come out until like 7 or 8 in the next morning. And by that time, I had a fully developed concept for MobiChef. What were your first 3 steps in making MobiChef real? I consulted a friend, and he was a fraternity brother of mine. And I was like, I have an idea, but I want to make sure this idea is the one that's for me and that I can truly build it, right, and create it. So he said, Chester, there's going to be 3 things you need. You need the idea itself. You need the development and how you're going to develop that concept. And you need the execution plan of how you're going to do it. When you have those 3 components, that's when you'll have a fully developed idea. So that's what came out of that basement. When I locked myself in it, was a fully developed concept. I even drew out a sketch of a logo. And that's how MobiChef was born. Not in a garage, but a basement. How did the military and your fraternity support you? There were a lot of moments where I observed people. And when I observe them, I just see how they succeed, how they win, how they move, how they talk, their mannerisms. Just a lot of things that tell me how I can move. Almost chameleon-like. I would take on some of their mannerisms and I'd apply it or test it, however you want to say it, to what I was doing and methods that I thought were effective. And if it didn't work for me, then I let it go. And I questioned how it worked for them. But nonetheless, we're all made different. So I'd watch a lot of people. I'd watch just about anybody and learn something from them, whether it's good or bad. What is your favorite MobiChef success story so far? My favorite one is the one that hasn't been written yet. We're still growing. There's a lot of things that we've had happening, but the biggest one, if I had to really give you one, was 2024. Last year was our make or break year, and last year being 2024. 2024 was our make or break year. I almost let MobiChef go. It was, hey, if I don't make any money with this, if I don't do something, some type of activity, if I don't get it going, this is going to be it. I'm going to shut the company down at the end of the year. And that was the moment where I was just like, you know what? You got to make something happen. Either, it's, as we say in some places, barbecue or mildew, boil or spoil. Either you make it happen or you don't. And so that was a moment for me that was, I'm happy for, because obviously we're still here today.
What role did faith play?
I called on God a lot. I called on him all the time. One, I couldn't figure out why he put me in a position he put me in. And two, what do you have next for me? If you truly put me here, if I was one in however many billion or million sperm there were that made it, I was the one that got out, and I helped get into the egg, or I got into the egg, why did you bring me here for me to fail? It didn't make sense. So I started challenging God in that way. Like, God, if you truly have something for me, I need to see it, man. I really need to see it, because otherwise I don't really know what I'm doing here. We all have a purpose. I just couldn't find mine. And that's just how I talked with God, and he responded in multiple ways.
What did your journey look like during all of this time?
My faith, understanding that if I lean on him, lean not onto my own understanding, eventually it would happen. Eventually he would show me what I need to see. And from that point, man, it was just strong faith. I come from a Christian home, Christian background, grandmother, mother, aunties, deeply rooted in Christianity. And that was a lot of what I relied on. Their example of what it looked like to have straight faith and strength and a strong spiritual connection with God.
Specifically tell us, how did your relationship with God evolve during that time?
When he didn't leave me in the moment I was about to pull the trigger, all the way up to the end, he was there. He knows and he knew, and God knows and God knew what he had planned for me. And he knew that I wasn't a quitter. He knew that I had a high level of discipline and spirit, which I used to call stuck on stupid. He knew that I wasn't a quitter. And he just sat back and watched, and he waited. I even waited because I wanted to see him appear. But I knew that if I took my own life, I'd never see him.
Can you read us a passage from your book?
I wish I could tell you the title of it, but I'm going to keep that for the bookstores and the shelves and the podcasts and audio books that'll come out. But it's my journey and the way I see entrepreneurship through my eyes, the successes and the failures. And that's all I'm going to tell you right now. But you know, don't you?
How has failure fueled your purpose?
Let's go back to this stuck on stupid, Justin. Constantly failing told me, hey, never give up. You got to try something else. There was never a time where I was like, oh, that didn't work, give up altogether and, run away from it. No, it was find a different way to do it. Same thing when I was dealing with ladies or anything like that. It was, hey, she said no to this. And that might have been a date. It might have been dating me or going out, whatever it may have been, or seeing her again, whatever it meant. It was, hey, find another way. She might not have wanted to do that activity. She might have just wanted to go to the park. She might have wanted to travel. So finding a different way to win, that's what failure did for me.
Will we see a MobiChef experience on tour at major food festivals?
in some form of fashion, Chester, they'll see it. The people will see that. We've done it before. We call them showcases. It's where, hey, you pay a ticket price and you come and our chefs make sure you eat good. We've done it a couple times. We've developed some awesome clientele from it, but there's more to come with that. We have some big plans for some things, and we just want you guys to stay tuned for that because it is coming. MobiChef is on the move.
Okay. What do you want your legacy to say?
It's cliche, but hey, you left it all on the court. I don't think that's going to sit right with me because I left it all, walked off the court, and said, hell no, I want it all back. And then we're going to do it all again. Again, stuck on stupid guys. I do want it to be where Chester was resilient. I love that word. Chester was consistent. That's a new word that I want to associate with me. Consistency. To me, that was like a cancer for life. That big C killed me in sales. It prevented me from getting any promotions when I worked in, telesales or telecom. And I never addressed it. So my legacy, when they think about that and they talk about that, is the fact that he changed up and he became more consistent. He remained disciplined with a high spirit level, stuck on stupid. And he never quit. That's simple. That's all I wanted to be. And he made a lot of money doing it. That's the other part of it.
What would you tell your 18-year-old self?
I'd hug him first. I'd hug him. Thank you, man. I'm sorry. Thanks, man.
To everyone listening,
It's been a pleasure, Chester.
your table is being prepared. Don't stop believing right now. The recipe of your life is still in the book. Thank you, Chester. Thank you for coming on. I'm glad the world got to hear you and see us. And I'm glad we got to tell our story. For all the listeners and viewers out there, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. If you're not subscribed already, go ahead and give us a subscribe and click that notification bell. And if you want to book a MobiChef, visit MobiChefOfficial.com today and let's get you started.